How long have you lived in Carroll County?
Uh, since 1941,
So, where were you born then?
Pennsylvania, Milton, Pennsylvania.
Is that far from here?
Oh, about 135 miles.
Okay. So, that you did all your schooling up in Pennsylvania?
New York.
New York?
Yes, all of it was up in New York State in Ontario County, Canandaigua, New York, which is a Finger Lake of New York.
Okay. So that's quite some travel.
What's that?
That's quite a bit of travel.
Not bad, not bad.
Now, what brought you to Carroll County?
How what?
What brought you to Carroll County?
What?
What brought you to Carroll County?
I met a lady here back in '41, and got married then, and here I am.
Did you raise your family here in Carroll County?
Yes,
How big was your family?
a daughter and a son. My daughter's here with me today.
Okay. Have you enjoyed your life here?
Very much, very much. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Have a lot of things changed within the county?
Yes, it's got, larger and larger and more restrictions and more benefits for everybody that lives here.
Okay. Did you ever work around here?
Did I ever want
Work around here?
work around here?
Yes.
I was a real estate broker, mostly.
Okay. Now, what was your favorite, when you first moved here, did you have a favorite restaurant, favorite?
Yes, I had, how about that? It was down in Eldersburg on the corner of 26 and 32. I can't think of the name of it now. Lions' Tea Room. Yes, which is no longer in existence.
Where in Carroll County do you live now?
Hampstead.
Okay. So, do your children still live around here?
Yes, they do. They live. My son and daughter both lives within about a mile of this operation here today.
Okay. So, very close.
Yes.
And close to you as well.
Yes, that's the most important.
So now do you mind if I ask a little bit about your service?
Sir?
Your service in the military?
Yes.
What branch were you?
Army.
And how did you wind up joining the Army?
Well, of course, back in '41, that's when they started the draft. And if you was 21 and to 45, you had to sign up for the draft, and they drafted you in. Well, in 21 there, when that was all going on, I was 19 years old then. So I thought, well, why don't I go ahead and get signed up? You only had to sign up for a year. Mm-hmm. So I signed up for a year in March of 12 to 41, and that year turned out to be quite a bit.
Did you enjoy your time in the service?
Wouldn't trade it for anything.
Now, what branch did you say Army?
Army.
Okay. And what rank did you reach?
Sergeant.
All right. How was the climbing the ladder?
It wasn't bad. I became a sergeant. I was a heavy equipment operator. So I was in Fort Belvoir, which is an engineer outfit, and I was teaching the ones that was being drafted in there how to operate different equipment if they were interested.
Were you an engineer the whole time?
Yes.
Well, what was the coolest things that you worked on? What were your favorite things to work on?
Heavy equipment. Yes.
Now, did the jobs that you had in the military transfer to your civilian jobs afterwards?
It did within a year, yes. I went in I met a man that had more money and he knew what to do with, I guess, and Him and I went in a bulldozer bid.
That's cool. So, where did you live and work during? I'm sorry, where were you stationed during the war?
Fort Belvoir, and I went from Fort Belvoir to England, and then after 6, 7 weeks after the invasions, we went into France.
Did you enjoy your time over? How do you feel about your time overseas?
Well, a great experience, and I think whenever you think you got it rough, think about what you did while you was over there, and you're in good hands now.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you did for fun while you were over there?
Well, yes, drink vodka. And I'm just kidding. No, yeah, it was no, during the war. There was no fun at all. About first time we ever got a chance is after Cherbourg was liberated. We found out about it. We got a hold of a jeep and went to Cherbourg and had a couple of drinks. Now that was probably the most fun we had for the first 3 months over there, if not more. If you want to call it fun, it was better than staying up near the front lines.
So, were you married at the time of your service?
Yes.
And how did your serving affect your home life?
Not at all. It was okay.
Were they very supportive of you?
Yes, yes. Oh, yes, yes, they did.
That's very nice. Did you make a lot of friends while serving?
A few, yes, a few. Most of them now is, I don't know where they're at. Most of them is dead, really, when you think about it, because I was kind of, most of them was 21 or larger, older, and I signed up for the draft at 19, and they were signing up for the draft from 21 to 45. So I was kind of their baby.
They watch out for you?
Oh, yeah.
Good. Did you have any other family members or friends serve?
I had a brother in the Navy.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, did you choose what branch you went to?
I had no choice.
Okay. Now, how did you feel about the war?
Well, when you think about the war and what we went through with and what we're doing now, we wonder what we conquered by having World War II. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good, I never thought of that until you just mentioned it. We was trying to make freedom for people, and we're getting almost as bad now as we was before the war in some of these other countries I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And I feel sorry for the young folks what's in the future for them. What's in the future for them? It's nothing to brag about from what I can see.
What were your feelings about it at the time?
What was my feelings?
About the war at the time?
Well, I thought it's a good thing we had it, because Hitler was taking over the Europe, mm-hmm. period. And we stopped that, and thank God we did, because he was ready to go into England if we hadn't got there. And if he'd have got that, he'd had a nice jumping point to come over here and see what we was doing.
Were your family and friends back home supportive of the war also?
I say yes.
Now, since you spent some time before you joined the service on the home front of the war, were there any changes in your lifestyle because of the war? Any shortages or rationing?
No, I think being 19 years old and and only happened to sign up for a year. I thought, what's a year? Maybe things will brighten up a little bit. But that year was something that turned out to be 4 years, 6 months, 29 days. So, did I like it? No, but they we had to like it because, after all, look what we conquered.
Did you choose to extend your time, or was that not by choice that you went longer than a year?
Oh no! What really the reason for going longer than a year? War was declared. Pearl Harbor, December 7th.
Mm-hmm.
That changed the whole world. Yeah.
Okay. Where did you say you were stationed before you went overseas?
Fort Belvoir.
Where is that?
That's about 10, 15 miles south of Alexander, Virginia.
Okay. Did you like your time there?
And I might like.
Did you like your time there?
Yes, did I enjoyed it.
How's the weather, the lifestyle? Was it any different than around here?
Not really. Neither was over in Europe, England, and foreign countries. It was similar to what we have in this area.
So now, coming back from the war, had lifestyle in Carroll County changed?
I think there's more people in it, and we got things here now that different manufacturers and things like that. That's good for our county.
Mm-hmm. How do you think that the war affected you personally and changed you in your time in the service?
I don't think it affected me. I can't see. I think it gave me. I didn't know that some of the way the foreign countries, the people had to live until we got there, because it was tough. You take France was being controlled by Germany and things like that, and anything besides that was great for them. So thank God that we was able to help them out.
Could you see others around you being changed?
Not really. I know sometimes you wonder if we appreciate what we got.
Was there anything special about serving in World War II that has not been in wars before or since?
But not really. Not really. I can't see anything really special. Of course, maybe you want to remember, there I was 19 week. I had guys being drafted in there at 44 and 45, and my father was only 40 and 41. And I had guys. There was guys in the army that was older than my father. Even my father was born in 1900.
Did you wind up serving over people older than you?
Did I?
So as you got promoted to sergeant, were there privates coming in that were older than you were?
Oh my golly, yes. I was a baby of the bunch there. Like I said, I was 19 years old.
Did that make it hard for you to lead them?
No. All you had to do was, talk to them, talk to them like you appreciate them being in there with you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was.
Did you have to treat the older soldiers different than the younger ones?
No. In fact, they were better than the younger folks. Really.
So did a lot of these soldiers wind up having to leave their families and their friends to come serve? Did a lot of the soldiers have families back home that they were concerned about?
Yes, they were. Yes. Yeah, most all of them. You take when they got up that age, most all of them were married, and they still drafted them in. And then after Pearl Harbor, them guys that was discharged, they were called back immediately. Mm-hmm. Thousands and thousands, up on thousands of them.
Were any of the soldiers bitter to be fighting?
Was an East soldier.
Were they unhappy to be there, or was everyone kind of on the same page?
I guess I wouldn't say you had to be there, so you might as well make the best of it, to carry out the orders that your superiors give you, and keep your nose clean and get it over with.
Okay. Was it a lot of, from what it sounds like, it was just a lot of finding ways to get through?
A lot of fight.
Finding ways to get through it.
Well, yeah, yes, I did see. Remember, I was very fortunate. The job I had, I was mostly on detached service. I didn't know where. I wasn't even working for the company that I was in. I was working for somebody else with a bulldozer or a big truck, and half the time I didn't even know where I was at, really. And so I had to find out where my company was at.
Mm-hmm. Did your company ever see combat?
No, we wasn't in the we did have no combat. We was just, like say we'll go clear up to Germany when the Germans got kicked back over the Rhine River. We was right in there as us engineers putting in bridges up and down there so the soldiers could get in there.
Do you think that your life overseas was different than someone who was in combat?
Oh yes, them boys in combat. It just they were here today and gone today.
Mm-hmm.
God bless them. When we got up there at the river, they said if we get the railroad bridge across there in 22 days, if we get the bridge across there, the war will be over in 22 days. And we had so many soldiers there working on that bridge, and I was on a big bulldozer doing this and that. And I think about 19 days after the bridge, they said the bridge, it's ready to run. And when we said go, there was a train for days and nights and days and nights coming across there. That's how far they were backed up, waiting to get across the Rhine River.
Was that an accomplishing feeling? Was that a feeling of accomplishment?
Oh my God, yeah, we knew that it's just a matter of time before the war would be over. I know, but I went across it. I was so happy, and I had to go up to the North Sea. There, we went around clean docks out for boats to come in, and coming back from that area, I'll never forget it. We got on the Autobahn. You heard of the Autobahn in Germany, and we was coming down the Autobahn, and I don't know where I was set doing it, da. And anyways, the German plane flies over. We went, what the hell's going on here? And come to find out, it's just getting there. The war was over. Boy, that was a day.
What were your reactions to the war ending?
Everybody went crazy, And we had get a hold of anything, we celebrated. Thank God.
After the war ended, how long did it take you to get home to your family?
See, the war was over. Well, if you had 100 points or more, you were supposed to fly home. They got me all screwed up, and I had 101 points over there. Not too many people had that many. And I ended up getting on the slow boat to China, and that's 14 days and 14 nights from England, Liverpool to Boston.
Sorry. Continue.
Oh, that night, the first night on the boat, the captain of the boat told us that, man, we've got nothing to worry about. He says, right now, he says, we're getting ready to get, by morning, we'll be going head first into a hurricane out here. And he said, we were on LSD. We was on an LSD. They're a little small, Mm-hmm. And my God, we was all playing poker that night, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And this was a converted cargo ship. They had bunks welded in there, 5 and 6 high. And we hit that storm that night, and it tore bunks loose. And my God, it was terrible. We had so many sick people on there. But finally, after 14 days and nights, we finally go into Boston. That was something. And The captain that night, when we hit the storm, he said, we got nothing to worry about. He said, we're only about 7 miles from land. And he said, the only trouble is straight down. And that was what came over the loudspeaker. That was enough to scare you to death, because it'd be pretty hard, you know.
Did you have family waiting for you as you got off the boat?
No, nobody really knew, you know, when he was coming or where he was coming into and things like that. When we got off in Boston, got in there that day, afternoon. We came in there with a boat like they did, be safe, like down here in Baltimore. And we came in there and they gave us what a wonderful walk. Oh, and we was only 950 guys, I'm sorry, 750 of us on there. We was 750 high pointers that come home that had 100 points or more. Mm-hmm. And they were pretty rough, and they were rough on me too, some of them. And because I climbed out on a big gun they had there, I think it was a 205 Hauser or something, because everybody was, the soldiers going crazy. We were so happy to be home. I couldn't see nobody, so I climbed out on the gun, and we finally made it. And we had a big meal that night, beautiful dinner and everything, and want to know how many you soldiers out there would like to sign up again. And everybody let them know. None. Oh.
Do you remember what the first thing you did when you got back together with your family was? Do you guys have a special meal or do anything?
Oh, golly day. Well, you know, I never was in Baltimore before, so I got into Camp Dix. My wife and her brother came up there to try to find me, and she had no idea what Camp Dix is. That's like trying to find a needle in a hay straw, you know. And because nobody knows where Jim Erb is up there. So I think a couple of days, and so it was so good. When I got almost didn't make it, I got my discharge, and I guess it was 12 or 14 steps coming out of this building, concrete, and I see this bus coming around, and my God, soldiers, bumper to bumper. So I jumped for them, and almost didn't make it. It got really hurt. And I jumped on the side of the bus and hung on to the window and made that bus almost stop. The guys drug me in the window. I wanted to get home. So they took us from there in I think it's Trenton. And I got a train to Baltimore, and I never was in Baltimore before. Mm-hmm. And I got in Baltimore, and I got off of there, and I said, my wife told me to ask for, you know, you can get a cab from there out to Liberty Road, and that's what I did. I got a cab, and I got out there, and I come home. But sometimes you wonder, all that war, the way everybody's fighting, was it worth it? It's a shame. And it can only get worse.
Was it hard to find work when you got back?
I'd say no, not this. I got a job right away. I love Maryland, love my family, and I pray for all. I love kids. Mm-hmm. I'm a good mason and a Shriner, and I think that's our life as children.
Did you have children when you were serving overseas?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No.
So you waited until you got back?
Yes.
Do you think that it would have been harder if you had kids at home while you were over there?
Yeah, oh my God. To me it would. I'd have worried myself, you know, you'd worry about, would you ever see him? You'd have to worry. My daughter here was the first one born after I come back, and I got a son, Jim Jr. People, you know, that most people today, you've been in World War II, so what? Really, that's a lot of their opinions, because they don't know. It's not, you know, it's like you look at you and look at my daughter, and they don't know what war is all about. So you can't blame them. you know, you sit here and talk and talk and talk, but some people never heard about, you know, they could care less. But and, I know that I've been very fortunate, and I don't know. I just hope that our our government, it's all up to them. Whoever we put in there to lead us, we just hope they go right and keep us from getting involved in any more conflicts.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel that before you went overseas, was the training that you received from the Army, do you think that prepared you well for what you were going to do?
Yeah, I thought it was wonderful, wonderful. Yes, yes. I had a wonderful opportunity. I can't believe I did what I did.
How long was your training?
Well, I was there from March of 41 till September of 43. September, from March of 41 till September 43 when I went over. They busted up us, the old guys, and made them go overseas.
Sounds like a pretty extensive training program.
Yes, 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 yes.
Did you learn things specific to what you were going to be doing? Or did you just
Oh,
learn
yeah, well,
everything?
I learned how to operate heavy equipment, and I was very happy with that. Yes, yes. In fact, I found, went into heavy equipment construction business and when I come back, thanks to somebody that seen me, come to me, has had money to do it. That's it. That's, I know, sometimes you wonder if the Americans really know how fortunate we are when you look at them other countries that's being killed off and everything. It's just terrible, terrible, terrible. And what it is, it's too many people in this world, not so bad here, but fighting for power. I'm going to be the kingpin, and they just don't know when to stop. We're lucky to be Americans, thank God.
Well, thank you very much for your time and also your service.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your time and everything.
We all really appreciate what you've done.
Right, thanks so kindly. Nice seeing you.